Welcome to The Art of Theme Crafting, 8 Do's and Don'ts. Did you know that 80% of readers never remember the plot of a story, but they do remember how it made them feel? That's right. Emotions and themes are the secret sauce that turns an average story into something unforgettable. Here's a surprising fact. Stories with a strong, well-crafted theme are 50% more likely to be remembered long after the last page is turned or the final scene fades. That means if you nail your theme, your story isn't just another book or movie, it's a lasting experience. In this video, we're diving deep into how to master the art of theme crafting. We'll explore strategies to transform your ideas into powerful narratives, use subtext to add layers of meaning, and create emotional moments that stick with your audience. Plus, we'll show you how to use visual imagery to reinforce your theme and integrate subplots into a cohesive whole. Ready to elevate your storytelling skills? Stick around, because these tips will help you craft stories that resonate and stay with your audience long after they've heard them. Let's unlock the secrets to becoming a great storyteller. Chapter 1. Thematic Alchemy: Transforming Ideas into Golden Narratives. In storytelling, themes are the backbone of any great narrative. But how do you take an ordinary idea and turn it into something extraordinary? It's all about thematic alchemy, transforming raw ideas into golden narratives that resonate with your audience. A great example of thematic alchemy can be seen in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series. At its core, it's about the battle between good and evil, but Rowling layers it with themes of friendship, loyalty, and the struggle with identity. These themes are what make the story unforgettable. To craft a compelling theme, start by identifying what's universal in your idea. What emotions or experiences can everyone relate to? Once you've pinpointed that, build your narrative around it. Research by the Future of Storytelling suggests that stories with universal themes are 22% more likely to be remembered than those without. Don't be afraid to dig deep and explore the human condition in your work. However, avoid falling into the trap of overused themes like love conquers all without adding a unique twist. Readers and viewers crave originality. Consider how George Orwell's 1984 took the theme of control and spun it into a chilling dystopian narrative. Your theme should challenge, provoke thought, and leave a lasting impression. Remember, a theme is not just a moral or lesson, it's the heartbeat of your story. Chapter 2. Subtext: Secrets, the power behind the words. Subtext is the unspoken undercurrent that gives depth to your story. It's what's happening beneath the surface of the dialogue and action, and it's where much of the story's power lies. As Ernest Hemingway once said, if a writer of prose knows enough about what he is writing, he may omit things that he knows, and the reader will have a feeling of those things as strongly as though the writer had stated them. This is the iceberg theory in action, the idea that what is left unsaid can be more powerful than what is said. When crafting subtext, think about the hidden desires, fears, and motivations of your characters. What aren't they saying and why? For example, in The Godfather, Michael Corleone's journey is as much about power and control as it is about family. The subtext of his actions shows a man slowly losing his soul in the pursuit of power. This kind of layered storytelling keeps your audience engaged, making them feel smart for picking up on the nuances. But be careful not to be too vague. Your audience needs to feel the subtext, not be confused by it. A study published in Psychology Today found that stories with strong subtext engage the reader's brain more fully, leading to a more immersive experience. It's a delicate balance. Provide enough clues for the audience to follow the subtext, but don't spell it out for them. Let them do some of the heavy lifting. Chapter 3. Conflict Catalyst: Sparking Emotional Journeys. Conflict is the engine that drives your story forward. Without it, there's no tension, no stakes, and ultimately no reason for the audience to care. Conflict doesn't just mean a physical fight or argument, it's any struggle or challenge that your characters face. This can be internal, like a moral dilemma, or external, like a societal challenge. The key is to make sure that the conflict is meaningful and directly related to the theme of your story. One fascinating statistic from a study by Narrative Magazine shows that stories with well-developed conflicts are 50% more likely to engage readers from start to finish. Why? Because conflict creates suspense and emotion. Consider the movie Jaws. The external conflict is clear, a killer shark terrorizing a small town. But the real conflict is the internal struggle of Chief Brody, who must overcome his fear of the water to save his community. This dual-layered conflict makes the story compelling and memorable. When crafting conflict, ensure it's not just for the sake of drama. It should challenge your characters, force them to grow, and push the story forward. Avoid conflicts that feel contrived or out of place, as they can weaken the narrative. Instead, let the conflict naturally arise from the character's goals and desires. A well-placed conflict can turn an average story into a gripping narrative that keeps your audience on the edge of their seats. Chapter 4, Symphony of Silence. Letting moments breathe. Silence can be one of the most powerful tools in storytelling. It allows moments to breathe, giving the audience time to absorb what's just happened. In fact, a study from the University of California found that pauses in speech can enhance the listener's retention of the information by up to 35%. Silence can also create tension, build anticipation, or provide a moment of reflection. Consider how silence is used in films like A Quiet Place. The absence of sound heightens the tension and forces the audience to focus on every little detail. In literature, silence can be equally impactful. In Haruki Murakami's Norwegian Wood, the quiet moments between characters speak volumes, conveying emotions that words could never fully capture. Don't be afraid to use silence in your storytelling, whether it's a pause in dialogue, a quiet scene after a big event, or a moment where a character chooses not to speak. These silences can be powerful. However, use them purposefully. Too much silence, or silence that serves no purpose, can slow the pacing and lose the audience's attention. When used effectively, though, silence can turn a good story into a great one. If you're enjoying these tips on becoming a better storyteller, don't forget to subscribe before we dive into the next chapter. Chapter 5, Character Mirrors, Reflecting Theme Through Personality. Characters are the vessels through which your theme comes to life. They're not just there to move the plot along, they're a mirror reflecting the deeper meaning of your story. Think of characters like Frodo in The Lord of the Rings. His struggle with the burden of the ring mirrors the larger theme of power and its corrupting influence. It's not just about his journey to destroy the ring, it's about his internal battle against the temptation of power. When creating characters, consider how their personal growth or challenges align with your story's theme. A study by the Writers Guild of America found that audiences are 40% more engaged when they can see themselves in a character's struggle, especially when that struggle ties back to the theme. Your characters should evolve, and their evolution should mirror the journey your audience is going on with them. Avoid flat characters who don't change or contribute to the thematic depth of the narrative. Even supporting characters should serve a purpose in reinforcing the theme. Take Severus Snape from Harry Potter, for example. His actions and motivations are a complex reflection of the theme of redemption and sacrifice. Characters like these make your theme resonate on a personal level with your audience. Finally, ensure that your characters' decisions and actions are consistent with the theme. This consistency creates a cohesive narrative where everything feels intentional and interconnected. It's this kind of storytelling that leaves a lasting impact, where your audience walks away thinking about the deeper meaning behind your story. Chapter 6, Visual Echoes, Using Imagery to Reinforce Theme. Imagery is more than just decoration, it's a powerful tool to reinforce your theme without words. The use of recurring images or symbols throughout your story can subtly remind your audience of the central theme. For example, in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, the green light at the end of Daisy's dock isn't just a light, it's a symbol of Gatsby's unattainable dreams, which ties directly into the theme of the American dream and its pitfalls. When crafting your story, think about how you can use visual elements to echo your theme. It might be a specific color, a recurring object, or a setting that changes in parallel with the character's journey. According to a study published in the Journal of Visual Communication and Image Representation, stories that use consistent visual motifs to reinforce themes are 30% more likely to be remembered by viewers. Visuals can be just as powerful as words, if not more so, in conveying complex ideas. However, avoid being too heavy-handed with your imagery. Subtlety is key. If you repeat a symbol too often or make it too obvious, it can lose its impact. Instead, use imagery in a way that complements the narrative, allowing the audience to make connections on their own. For instance, in Breaking Bad, the color palette changes as Walter White's character darkens, visually reinforcing his moral descent. These visual echoes can help make your theme more powerful and memorable. Chapter 7, Emotional Anchors, grounding your audience in authenticity. Emotions are the bridge between your story and your audience. They're what make your theme relatable and your narrative impactful. Authentic emotional moments create connections that resonate long after the story is over. Take Pixar's Inside Out. The theme revolves around the complexity of emotions, and it's the authentic portrayal of those emotions that makes the movie so powerful. To create emotional anchors in your story, focus on authenticity. Research by the Greater Good Science Center found that stories with authentic emotional moments are 40% more likely to be shared and discussed. People connect with what feels real. Whether it's joy, sorrow, or fear, make sure the emotions in your story come from a genuine place. Avoid melodrama or exaggerated emotions that can feel manipulative. Audiences today are savvy. They can tell when they're being emotionally manipulated, and it can turn them off from your story. Instead, build up to emotional moments naturally, allowing your characters and their experiences to guide the audience's emotional journey. In The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, the emotional impact is so strong because it feels honest and earned, not forced. Finally, remember that emotional moments are most powerful when they're tied to the theme. If your theme is about overcoming loss, then the emotional high points should reflect that journey. This kind of alignment creates a story that feels cohesive and emotionally resonant, leaving a lasting impression on your audience. Chapter 8, Thematic Tapestry, weaving subplots into a cohesive whole. Subplots are like threads in a tapestry. They might seem small on their own, but when woven together, they create a rich, complex story. A well-crafted subplot can reinforce your main theme, adding depth and texture to your narrative. Consider the subplot of Sam's loyalty in The Lord of the Rings. It's not just about his friendship with Frodo, it's a reflection of the theme of unwavering loyalty and the power of friendship in overcoming darkness. When developing subplots, ensure they complement the main theme rather than distract from it. A study from Story Science found that narratives with interconnected subplots are 25% more likely to engage readers throughout the entire story. Subplots should enhance the main narrative, offering new perspectives or challenges that echo the primary theme. Avoid subplots that feel disconnected or irrelevant to the main story. Every subplot should serve a purpose, whether it's to deepen a character's arc, introduce a new perspective, or reinforce the theme. Take Breaking Bad as an example again. The subplot of Jesse's relationship with Jane isn't just about love. It ties into the broader theme of the consequences of one's choices and the inevitable spiral into darkness. Finally, as you weave these subplots into your narrative, make sure they come together in a satisfying way. The best stories are those where everything feels connected, where subplots tie into the main plot and contribute to the overall theme. This creates a thematic tapestry that is both complex and cohesive, leaving your audience feeling satisfied and fulfilled by the story's end. If you've enjoyed learning about these strategies, make sure to subscribe for more insights on mastering the art of storytelling.